Hi, beautiful community. Welcome back to another episode of Create Your Joy. And I am so happy today and so excited to jump in and dissect the song I Am Unstoppable by Sia. And then that's one of my favorite songs that I really, really love. And I can't wait. And I can't wait to dissect it with all of you.
Wonderful. It's so great to be here. And yeah, Unstoppable by Sia is one of my favorites as well. There's something so invigorating about this music. I always walk away feeling enthusiastic and just pumped up to do something special. And as for anyone who's new to our podcast, our Create Your Joy podcast is all about looking at the power of music and diving into different songs in each episode and drawing on inspiration and different viewpoints with the lyrics. And we know that music has power. And so if we are able to make new meaning out of some of these lyrics, that the next time we hear the song, we might be able to remind ourselves of things that we forget in our daily hustle. So with that, Ivania, let's dive right in. And I was going to say, I can start by reading out loud the first few lines here, and then we can each take a turn.
Yes, that would
So
be
the
amazing.
song begins, yeah, the song begins again with a very sort of, what you see on the surface. So this person is saying, all smiles, I know what it takes to fool this town. I'll do it till the sun goes down and all through the nighttime. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'll tell you what you want to hear. Leave my sunglasses on while I shed a tear. It's never the right time. Yeah, yeah. And for me in this, it sounds like a fate that's very familiar, especially to women, but I think also to a large extent to men as well, where we have a public face that we show when we are with others, and then there's a private face that no one knows about. And this idea that you know what it takes to fool this town, like internally you may be breaking down, but on the outside, you know, the only thing that the other person sees is all smiles and confidence and, the appearance of having it together, not necessarily being together on the inside, but the appearance of having it together. And this person is saying, I'm so good at doing it, I'll do it till the sun goes down. They just are so conditioned to show up in the world this way that they don't even have to think about it. It's gone deep into their subconscious at this point. That's just how they show up in the world. And all through the nighttime, so day or night, there is no time anymore where that mask isn't on. And I'll tell you what you want to hear. Now, this is a classic, sort of way that people pleasers especially will behave in the world, is that they'll tell you exactly what you want to hear, but it may or may not actually be in someone's favor. So there's that sense of maybe flattery or something like that, but it's exaggerated, it's not genuine.
Yeah.
And as I read these lines, I get this sense of like tension in my own body when I hear that, because this is someone who is living such a fake life. There's nothing genuine about the way they are showing up in the world. And this next line kind of proves it. Leave my sunglasses on while I shed a tear. That they're so afraid to be vulnerable in front of the world that they even have to wear sunglasses if they have to shed a tear. Everything is hidden. It's never the right time. Yeah, yeah. Meaning it's never the right time. How I'm interpreting it is that it's never the right time to let down the guard even a little bit, to put down the armor for even a moment and in front of anyone. I'm curious to know what's your perspective on this, Ivania.
Yeah, no, thank you for the reading. It was really beautiful, well done. And also I really like the fact that you emphasize on the people pleasing.
Yeah.
And also it's like in order for us to get around, we think also that when we had the perspective that we think that we have to please everyone. and not taking in consideration how we feel the inside.
Yeah.
And those are the mentality that we have to, break. We have to break that cycle. But of course, it takes time. And also the way I'm looking at this, old smiles, I know what it takes to fool this town. When I hear these things, and I also the perspective that I want to bring on my end is more about the inner self, that we also sometimes pretend that it's not there. We have to smile, like with ourselves, like we're not accepting a situation, or we're not accepting that we have to move forward, like we avoid it, the avoidance. And we pretend like everything's fine. Everything is fine. And I know what it takes to fool this town. I'll do it until the sun goes down. And I think that you were right what you say. It's like we're working automatically, like that is so ingrained in our subconscious that it's like a robot. We just do it. It comes out automatically, day in, day out.
Yeah.
And we know this because we every single day, that's what we do. Whatever we do constantly, that's what we're doing every single day. And all through the nighttime, also you see, like it's like day in, day out. Yeah. I tell you what I want to hear, leave my sunglasses while I shed a tear. When I listen to those two sentences, what it brings me back into the voice, the inner critic, and our intuition, the voice, which is the higher and the lower self, that I always like to emphasize on those two, because I want, the audience and to remind myself that it's okay to have those two voices. We just have to have a conversation with both, because we live in a world where everything is more materialistic, and we have to understand that. And also we have to understand that there's more to that. There's more than just material stuff. And when she says, I share a tear, it's because it sees that every day in, day out, she can be who she wants to be. She can flourish because of the materialistic things, or because you have to be a certain way to be accepted. So even though from inside you start building these walls, or you had this mask, even though you're sharing a tear. So that's what I'm getting from this. And it's like it's never the right time, because you're not allowing yourself to break that right time, because there's not a right time. It is the time where you need to break it. And I think, to me, like when you start, you always start with the lower self trying to have this conversation with the higher self, because we so consume with the external world, because it's so loud that's when we start losing we lose ourselves there. But then there's a conversation, maybe there started to be a shift, the awareness starts to come in, and that's where I see at the beginning of these songs.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And what you were just saying about it's never the right time just occurs to me. Just a quick personal anecdote here is that usually when I'm about to make a change, like if I have to adopt a new habit, I always get the sense, I'll tend to say, my knee-jerk reaction is to say, oh, I'll start tomorrow. And the problem in saying that is it's never the right time. That tomorrow never arrives. And so one of the ways that I have kind of hacked this for myself, if I'm going to adopt a new habit, is I say, I'm going to do it today.
Yes.
And I find that even if I'm only doing it once in that day, that sets me up to begin a virtuous spiral. And I think we forget that, much like a potter's wheel, when we're adopting something new, the spiral has to run upwards a little bit for a little while before it begins to give you the benefits that you're looking for. It's not going to be like symptomatic relief, right? Like we're so used to that in our society, especially with medical things. If your head aches, you take a medication. If your stomach aches, you take another medication. And so it's this tendency to treat whatever is immediately wrong. But when it comes to our inner work, it's all about generating these virtuous spirals.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, if someone is stuck in the opposite spiral, which is a downward spiral, then it's never going to feel like the right time, because
Yes.
the spiral carries so much energy. And yet there are pivotal moments in people's lives, when something bad happens, when adversity hits you. And those are usually times where the spiral stops for a moment. And then you have a choice,
Mhm.
whether you want to
Mhm.
start building a virtuous one or you keep going deeper. So anyway, I just had to share that because that one line just really grabs you. And what you said about it kind of got me thinking in that direction.
No, it's beautiful. Yes, you're right about that. 100%.
Well, how about the next few lines? Read them out loud because this song gets better and better.
Oh, yeah, I really like that. Okay, so in the second verse, it says, I put my armor on, show you how strong I am.
Yeah.
I put my armor on, I show you that I am. I am unstoppable. I am a Porsche with no brakes. I am invincible. Yeah, I win every single game. I'm so powerful. I don't need batteries to play. I am so confident. Yeah, I am unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. I am unstoppable today.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. This second verse, actually, I really love also because I can see that I put my armor, when she puts her armor, for me, what I like to see in these lyrics is that she starts to believe in herself. And the armor that she's wearing is her higher self, embracing her inner self, embracing her inner voice, embracing that intuition, embracing that love within herself. And she put this, armor and show everyone how strong she is. It says, show you how strong I am. Because as a complete person, as a whole that we all are, we are very strong. Especially when you start having this conversation and be friendly with your inner critic voice, friendly with your lower self, understanding how the outside world works. And that's the armor that you build every single day. And it said, I show you that I am unstoppable. And that's what it says, I am unstoppable. When you say I am unstoppable, it's because there's nothing that can stop her along the way. And it says, I am a Porsche with no brakes. And when it said that, when it says I am a Porsche with no brakes, to me, what it means is that there's nothing can stop her. Nothing. And whatever obstacle that comes into it, she's so, I wouldn't say like in love with herself or who she is, embracing in totality. That's what it says. I'm a Porsche with no brakes. Nothing can break her. Nothing can stop her. I am invincible. Yes, I win every single game. And when I hear it, like I win every single game. To me, I'm listening, I'm hearing, I win every single day. It's the day that she's winning. I am so powerful. I don't need batteries to play. When it says I don't need batteries, to me is I don't need the external world. I don't need to be a robot. I don't need that in order for me to play. And to play is to live. I don't need batteries to live. And it says, I am so confident. Yeah, I am unstoppable today. And she emphasized it in today because she goes into, I am unstoppable today, I'm unstoppable today. Because one thing that I wanted to point out when you were explaining a few seconds earlier, where you said there's no tomorrow. If you think about it, there's no tomorrow.
Right.
What it is today.
Yeah.
So I really like that she says, I am unstoppable today. And she's talking to her higher, she's talking to the higher self, the higher self is talking to the lower self. And is this, we go back to this mantra, we go back to this repetition to ingrain that into our subconscious, because just the way we've been conditioned in other ways, we're programming ourselves to be unstoppable today. So anyways, what do you think?
Oh my gosh, I love your interpretation of it. And I have to say, you know, this is a part of the song where I feel conflicted when I hear it, because again, by the beat and the rhythm of the song, I find it really invigorating. In fact, these are the lines, the unstoppable today part, that probably resonate the deepest with me, especially after I have done some inner work. But in this song, when I pay attention to the lyrics, it actually speaks something totally different to me. So at the end of the previous verse, where it says it's never the right time, again, I was interpreting that as like it's never the right time for this person to be vulnerable. So they continue to, and now they're saying, I put my armor on to show you how strong I am. You know, the thing is, when you're strong from the inside, you don't have to put your armor on to show anyone on the outside. So my interpretation is that this person is still relying, doing things to show the outside world how strong they are, but they're not yet fully stepped into their own power. And so whatever they're doing, it's to show someone on the outside, to prove themselves to someone else. That's how I'm seeing it. I put my armor on, I'll show you that I am. So here's the thing. I find it very key that she's saying, I'll show you that I am unstoppable today, right?
Yes.
And so in my interpretation, it's that it's not so much that this person is just happy within themselves that they're unstoppable, but it's importantly, they want to show this other person, whoever it is, or show the world that they're unstoppable. And in that sense, they're actually, I find in this song, a very fragile soul, in fact, being expressed, who is entirely dependent on their self-worth to how the world responds to them. And if the world reflects back and says, you're strong, that's the only way that they will believe that they're strong in this part of the song. And so talking about, to me then, when it says, I'm a Porsche with no brakes, to me, that means she's feeling out of control on the inside, but she doesn't know. And for anyone who has been in a downward spiral of any kind, doesn't matter what it was that caused it, when someone is in that downward spiral, it feels like you're in a car without brakes and you don't know what destruction is going to happen in your life, you know? So I can resonate with that on a very deep level. Being a Porsche with no brakes. I'm invincible, you know, they are trying to convince themselves, you know, those of us that have done our inner work know that it's not the ability to be invincible that defines who we are. It's the fact that we can be vulnerable, but we're strong anyway, despite the vulnerability.
Yes.
And so when someone says that they're invincible, meaning, oh, nothing can touch me, it is, again, to me, it's a fear-based response.
Yeah.
When someone says I'm invincible, yeah, I win every single game. And to me, this means, like, again, there's a very tendency here. This person is showing a tendency to say, yeah, I'm playing the game. You know, like when someone has a lot of fame, for example, they'll say, yeah, I know how to play this game. So they know how to show up in the world, but they're not necessarily in their authenticity yet.
Yes.
And saying the same thing, I'm so powerful, you know, meaning that they have to show that power to others. It's not necessarily something they're feeling on the inside. So again, as I said, I feel very conflicted about this part of the song, because on the one hand, the words are very invigorating, but on the other, if you really listen into how this person is showing up. You do have some compassion for what this person is going through, because it's almost like they're forced to show up this way in the
Mhm.
world. And saying, I don't need batteries to play. Again, like there's this sense that there's some frenzy inside this person. There's some kind of energy or passion that's driving the person, but it's a passion to prove themselves to the
Mhm.
world rather than, something that would be intrinsic and,
Mhm.
beautiful, like you were talking about with that collaboration between the higher and lower self. I'm so confident. Yeah, I'm unstoppable today. And to me, this chorus of unstoppable today seems almost like this person is trying to convince themselves to keep going,
Mhm.
because again, that spiral is spiraling down so hard that they can't really break out of it right now. So they're saying, oh, I'm unstoppable, just so they can bust through whatever obstacles it is that
Mhm.
arise for them. So there's a real sense to me of frenzy and chaos on the outside, and a lot of control and poise on the outside.
Yeah.
Um, so that's how I experienced that. A lot of frenzy and fury in this part of the song. But take us to the next verse. Let's see if it
Yes.
changes.
Yes. So on the other verse, that one is follows, it says, break down, only alone I will cry out loud. You never see what's hiding out deep down. Yeah, yeah. I know I've heard that to let your feelings show is the only way to make friendship grow.
Mm,
But I'm too afraid now. Yeah, yeah. And then it goes back into, I put my armor on, show you how strong I am. And it's like the second, the chorus, that it repeats itself.
yes.
And I would like to kind of dissect this down, because it's saying a lot when
Yeah.
it say like breaking down. Like, to me, the perspective that I sit here, if I'll be talking to myself, and I'm trying to work in my inner self. It's like breaking down I'm in a point where I know the situation is not good.
Yeah.
And I can feel that I am alone, and I can cry it out loud because I am alone. So
Mm,
now it's going inward,
mm,
reflecting. Like,
yeah.
now it's taking a pause
Mm,
and reflecting and looking at the situation, the whole situation. And so you never see what's hiding out. And it's expressing her emotion that no one sees those emotions. No one is able to deeply understand those emotions because it's so deep. It's that I know I've heard that to let go, I know I've heard that to let your feelings show is the only way to make friendships grow. When he said that, when I hear this, is that it's like the lower self have to give in, because it has to show those feelings, or that vulnerability,
yeah.
that he knows that the higher self is there to embrace you, but you have to let go, or whatever you think, you have to hold that into it,
Yeah.
because by letting it go, then you start making friends with your lower self, with
Mm,
your critic voice. That one is always telling you, oh, you're not enough, you should be ashamed of yourself, or you're not worthy. So all those things that we're holding on, we have to let them go.
yeah.
Be aware of it first, but then we have to go, because, like I said, it's the only way to make friendships grow. And
Mhm.
that's what she needs to grow. She has to be aware, and now that she's aware, she needs to let it go, because she knows that's the next step that it needs to take in order for the friendship to grow, or to grow in your journey.
Yeah.
But it says, but I'm too afraid now.
Mm,
And now she feels that uncertainty.
yeah.
That's the most that most of us fear, the uncertainty.
Yeah.
But when she goes back, but I put my armor on and show you how strong I am. And then she goes back to the mantra, she goes back to the repetition, no, but I am strong. And she started to remember that how strong she is, that she's unstoppable. And when I really like the fact when she goes unstoppable today, she's not talking about the tomorrow. So no, I'll be strong tomorrow. I'll be strong maybe later. I'll be strong. Maybe I'll share my feelings later. I think what I really love is that she's taking a baby steps towards loving herself and understanding herself, and starting that conversation within herself, and start to understand the two voices and separate them today.
Beautiful.
So that's what I'm getting from this verse.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I just loved how you dissected that, Ivania, in the context of the higher and lower self. And this idea, what as you were describing, what came into my mind is that, you know, we all go through these cycles of pain in our life. And, you know, when adversity comes up and we feel like we're breaking down, you know, it can take us some time, but we can find that strength again. That's the message that I got from what you were sharing. And then the armor then becomes really that spiritual armor, like that preparation.
Yes.
You know, you prepare yourself for your interactions with the world rather than, you know, making your self-worth depend on how the world is going to respond to you. Rather, you prepare yourself, you give yourself the love first, and then you confidently go out into the world. So I really got that message loud and clear. And for me, this I find is like the redeeming verse of this song, because in the previous verse, again, you know, in my interpretation, it gets quite dark. You know, the person is going down in this downward spiral, and there's frenzy and chaos in their mind and heart, even though they're pretending to be something on the outside. And here in this verse, break down, only alone I will cry out loud, meaning this person is definitely being affected by the image that they're portraying to the world, and that they're able to break down, they're able to see the truth only when they are in private, and they cry out loud in those moments, maybe cry out loud for help, you know, from their inner wisdom, perhaps. And you'll never see what's hiding out. And that's important. It seems like she's talking to the world to say, you'll never know what are the monsters that are hiding, you know, what are the demons that I'm fighting on the inside, hiding out deep down. Yeah. I know I've heard that to let your feelings show is the only way to make friendships grow. And here I think is the redeeming line, where it's like finally this person is beginning to see that unless they allow their feelings and their guard to come, their feelings to show and their guard to come down a little bit in front of someone, anyone, you know, until they can do that, they will not have any friendships to grow. You know, it's the only way to make friendships grow, because again, how do you get closer to someone? By sharing something that causes you to feel vulnerable and maybe a little bit fragile, and like you're taking a chance sharing it with someone, you know. And when the other person validates you, or, you know, responds with kindness or compassion, that's when a bond is formed. So in that sense, I feel that this is the turning point in the song. And, you know, she's acknowledging that she's too afraid in this moment. And she is again, so the point that I'm trying to make is that this person is beginning the process of coming out of that downward spiral, which again, it doesn't just flip and become an upward spiral right away. It doesn't become a virtuous spiral right away. But what does happen is some of that conditioning starts breaking down, you know? So, for example, she's able to let in the truth that you have to let your feelings show to make friendships grow. And yet her conditioning kicks in, because this is subconscious at this point. So she's still putting that armor on. She's still trying to show people how strong, she is. And she's doing all those things. She's still feeling like a Porsche with no brakes. But as you continue hearing this song, and as she reminds herself more and more about being unstoppable today, I sense that there's a shift in that unstoppableness, and that shift is that the spiral is now changing towards a virtuous one. And it's slow, it's subtle, but it's there. The shift is there. And I truly think that the song, continues to go through another cycle of saying, I put my armor on, as if to suggest that, different situations are happening and they're triggering this person to again put their armor on. Okay. And to be able to say, feel like they're invincible and whatnot. But that with each time that they're faced with that kind of situation, some of the truth again comes in. And to me, in the end, when it's saying unstoppable today, the 7 or 8 times I'm unstoppable today, by then it becomes an anthem also to say that I have lived through all these challenges. I have lived through them, and I was unstoppable through those challenges, and I will continue to do so. So yes, I'll get stuck in my conditioning and I'll try to put the armor on, but I will also continue to change. And I think that is the redeeming story of humanity, if you think about it, because that's how we have to live our life. The challenges will always be an opportunity for us to come deeper into relationship with our higher self, to your point. And so from a self-love and empowerment perspective, I can definitely say that this song, kind of lets you know what work it is that you have ahead of you, which is that these things are going to come up again and again and again. And you have to have something in place to remind you of what the truth is, and lean into that truth and break that cycle, even if for a moment. And your conditioning might take hold again, but it'll be a little bit weaker than it was last time. And again, I can't say enough how much I love the beat, the rhythm of this song.
Yes.
And towards the end, especially, that unstoppable just becomes such an invigorating word compared to what I felt it was in the beginning.
I know you're so right about that. I like how you were saying that that we have to show our feelings so we can become strong.
Yeah.
But you said it's actually the bond. The bond will become stronger, especially with relationships. And I was just thinking, when you said that, what I thought is like, what relationship is more important than your own?
Exactly. Than the one we have with ourselves, right?
The one you have with yourself. Yes.
Because you'll navigate that for the rest of your life, for as long as you are here on this earth. Other people will come and go from your life, but you will always find yourself left with yourself.
Exactly. And then, like you say, if they do the work, within themselves, they start to build that bond, that relationship. And of course, we're gonna, break down because we're learning. We are in an evolution phase that we always becoming something. And I like the fact how you say, like, the bond is strong in any relationship. But the most important relationship is the one with yourself. That's the one we have to work on. Because once you work in your own relationship, yourself, you're able to understand other relationships,
Right.
like any kind of relationship, because your armor is already on. You really did the work.
Yeah.
You really understand yourself.
Right.
You know your values. You know your barriers. You know what benefits you, and you know what doesn't benefits you.
Right.
So I really, really love that I see this whole song, like you say, like an anthem, but for yourself.
Yeah.
To embrace yourself is that reminder, and to ingrain those words in us, because, like I said, we had experienced so much. We have overcome all of those. And we're here today. And we're not talking about tomorrow, but we're talking about today. And I like that she emphasized it. I am stoppable today.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. And it just made me think that so many of us, like from a coaching standpoint, one very important thing that coaching does for people is it helps people get unstuck,
Mhm.
right? And I find that this is the song. If someone is feeling stuck due to procrastination or a limiting belief or
Mhm.
fear of some kind, whether it's fear of committing to something, fear of taking a new step, or doing something for the first time that you have never done before, for anyone like that, this song, Feeling as Though You Are Unstoppable Today, will help you get unstuck. And you can invest this song with that meaning. This is, I think, one of those beautiful things about music is that you can inject meaning into it if
Yeah.
it speaks to you differently, you know?
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why we want to share these perspectives with you. And we want to hear your viewpoint too. We love to hear from our audience. And if you have suggestions for songs that inspire you, or if you have an interpretation of a song, feel free to leave that for us in comments and feedback. And we'll be happy to dissect a song of your choice in a future episode.
Yeah, no, you sort of would so inviting, our audience to do that. And if you like our podcast, please give us a like and subscribe so you can hear for more. And I just wanted to say one more thing as a coaching perspective, like you said, when this song, will help you. And then if hearing different perspectives will make your perspective to be wider or receive it in a different way. And I think that this song empowers you.
Mm.
And it reminds you how powerful, because she also said, I'm powerful today, is how powerful we are. That sometimes we forget that we are very powerful today. I love that. It's like living in this moment. This is the moment. There's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
This is it.
Beautifully articulated. Wow. And with that, I guess we're bringing our episode today to a close, but we promise to bring you another episode real soon, another song that we will dissect together. And please remember to create your joy, create your day, as my friend says, as Ivania says. And certainly it's our joy to bring these podcast episodes to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here, for coming again, and please come back. We have so much to offer. And yes, create your day, create your week, your weekend, your month, your year. Create the life you want to live. Thank you.
Wonderful. Bye for now.
Bye.
Want to stop the recording?